All right, a long time coming. Here we go. Full review of the Tenable Prometheus. Prometheus. Okay, this is let's get into it. It's about 3 inches or so. Let's see. 3 1/4, a little over 3 1/4. A little over 3 1/4 inches blade length. It is 14. Okay, drops a bunch of shit. 14C28N, so tough stuff. Very, very corrosion resistant, which I like, obviously. We were coming in at about 3.7 pounds, so, not too heavy, not necessarily, featherweight or anything like that. This is the black coated blade style with I believe this is a sheep's foot blade shape. It is a flipper tab only, liner lock, G10 scales. I got it in purple. Milled pocket clip. It's also important to mention that Tenable is the budget brand from Concept Knives, Kansept. So this is a relatively new brand, and they have a couple of different models out. The reason why I picked this one up originally was because it was presented on Neve's Knives. Shout out to him. And he had some pretty decent stuff to say about it. The price point on this is also something that I'm pretty big fan of. It's around the $60 price point. I think there was a couple of different ones. If you had the like non-coated blades, those were going around 60 plus, and this was going for a little under 60, like 54 or something like that, maybe after taxes and shipping. So I picked this one up just because, I don't got that much money to spend on knives. Why start a knife channel then? But yeah, this is pretty great so far. I've been carrying this around a lot for quite a while. It's the first knife that I have that has this blade shape, and I've been wanting one for a very, very long time. One of the great things about this blade shape is that it really allows you to focus on the point when you're cutting things. I have gotten into larger blade lengths, 3 inches and bigger. This is kind of a sweet spot, 3 1/4 or so. It doesn't feel too big. It's definitely not too small. You can do a lot of things with it. As I've mentioned many, many times before, I'm really a big fan of stainless steels. So the 14C is very, very nice in my opinion. I'm a very, very big fan of it. I do like the G10. The G10, feels pretty grippy. It would have been nice if, there was a bit of contouring, but, this is intended to be a budget knife. And because of that, there's things that you have to compromise. I really like this pocket clip. It goes in and out of the pocket, just buttery smooth, whether it's sweatpants, running shorts, jeans, dress pants. It's fantastic. So real nice on the pocket clip. It's a little disappointing that, it's not reversible for some of the lefty folks out there, but it really doesn't bother me. And I don't think it bothers most people in the pocket knife community because most people are righty. I really like how there's this, this indent, this shape for your finger just to sit in. It really just creates a great place for the flipper. The flipping action is very, very reliable, very, very smooth. It would have been nice if maybe there was like a fuller here so you could do a reverse flick. I've in the past couple of months I've been doing a reverse flicks on knives that enable it, and it's quite a fun way to deploy. One of the things I like about it is that when you flick it open, your hand is almost already in the position to use it. But this is a good knife for, if you're just doing small cuts, things like that, because again, it goes into the position that you would be using it right away. Some jimping around here maybe is a bit of a missed opportunity, but really because this has your finger is almost lined up with the point of this when you're using it, you kind of don't need that jimping. I don't know how much you would really use it like this. You could, just because it has that nice flat portion. So pretty much from here back, it's going to be very similar to like, drop points or spear points, things like that. It's really this front 30% or so of the blade that makes a big difference in terms of how you use this versus some other blade shapes. I don't think that the jimping is necessarily a bad thing. It has that little bit of indentation here, this that bit of shape. So you can kind of press down there. This isn't a hard-working knife, I wouldn't say. Although the steel is very, very capable because of that 14C. It's tough stuff. It doesn't keep an edge, as well as something like D2 or other steels. But the corrosion resistance on this and the toughness on this really make it in my opinion, at least a preferable steel, for the way that I use it. I have cut a couple things, with this, like some apples and other wet items, and I haven't had any issues or worries about it getting stained or corroded. A little bit of schmutz from tapes and things like that. I did not use my KPL spray on this one for two reasons. One, I never got around to it, and two, because this is very rust resistant, corrosion resistant, I don't think that it actually needs it. That stuff is probably going to be used more on things like D2 steels and things of the like. But the performance on this thing it's pretty good. Early on, I thought, it's not that great. It's not worth the price point. But now that I've handled it a lot more, it's the knife that I've been carrying around in my pocket primarily for the past couple of weeks. It's actually quite good. But words are one thing. Let's get into the scoring scale. Here we go. Need to get my scoring dice wherever they are. Hold on. Here we go. Okay. So I have many dice. 2, 4, 6. I need one more. 7. Okay. So, getting into this, it's been a while. There we go. All right. So now that we got this thing here, let's go with the materials. So like I said before, 14C28N, G10 scales, titanium pocket clip. I'm actually going to give this a pretty good score. I'm going to give it let's give it a 5. I think the materials, especially for this price point, especially the way that it's been put together, it's very well done. You're getting a lot of really good stuff. That titanium clip right there, just it brings a lot more value, which we're going to get to at the end. It brings a lot more value to this knife in this configuration. So I'm going to give that a 5. Ergonomics, I'm going to give it a 3. I'll give it a 4. There's no hot spots or anything that caused by it, but it's not really changing the knife world or anything with the way that it functions. I really do like that sheep's foot, and maybe that's probably one of the reasons why I do that. Also, the way that the handle sort of sweeps up here, it creates just a nice little comfortable feel in the hand. It's a bit of a missed opportunity to contour some of the G10, but again, manufacturing processes, especially with the kind of curve that's going on down here, maybe it wasn't straightforward or really even easy, or would have increased the price if you had to do more work on machining and fabricating these scales. Craftsmanship, 5. It's solid. I really have no complaints about it. I wouldn't give it like a 6. It's not stellar, meaning like, oh my God, this thing is the greatest knife I've ever handled. But it is very, very good. It's very, very solid. I don't own any concept knives, but I've seen a few videos on them, and they're very well received, and they tend to be in the higher end. So it's good stuff. I don't know how Tenable is going to be for concept in the way that Civivi has been for Wii. It's relatively new. One of the things that I believe is that whenever there's a new thing, there's a lot of effort to really put your best foot forward. But once it establishes a name for itself, then, they kind of go a little bit lax on some of the quality and effort and cost that they put into maintaining that degree of product, especially when it's intended to be your budget line. But for now, this early model, I'm definitely going to give it a 5. Design. Again, I'm going to give it a 4. They went very safe with it. I think the two things that are the most, I would say, a stretch for this budget knife is the titanium pocket clip and, just the blade shape. There are a lot safer blade shapes. Not to say that this one isn't safe, but there's some that are more common, that people are more used to. So they went with something that is highly functional, and I think they did a very, very good job. But again, like things with like a liner lock. You know, they probably could have done things to maybe lighten this up or make it a little bit thinner. The fact though that it is pretty thick, it does in lieu of having a contoured grip, it does, give it a good presence in the hand and a good feel. So, I'm just gonna give it a 4 for design. It's definitely above average, but I wouldn't say that it's, again, really just pushing the edge or tip of the spear in terms of innovation. Versatility. Let's see. I'm actually gonna give this a 4 as well. A sheep's foot blade style, it's not really good for piercing. I mean, you could do it, but it's not going to be as good as a drop point or a spear point, things like that. This is incredibly good at just slicing things like opening boxes and packages. It acts very much like a box cutter, because of the way that it's shaped. But I think really the versatility comes from the fact that it is a tough steel, the fact that it is corrosion resistant. And even though it doesn't retain its edge very, very well, it's very, very easy to sharpen, and it gets very, very sharp. So I'm going to give this a 4. Carryability, I'm going to give it a 5. If they had lightened it up just a little bit more, a couple of tenths of an ounce, maybe like 3.3 or 4 even, yeah, this would increase its carryability. And of course, anything lower than that would be even better. But it's not a heavy knife, especially for how much knife you get for the weight and for the size, especially given the blade length. So definitely a 5. Overall value. Now, this is the one that I really struggled with. Early on, I was thinking, this really isn't worth it. There's so many other knives that are better, cheaper, blah, 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 blah. But I've been using this more and more. And it's been a while since I actually used a knife this size. I've been carrying around my Kaiser Dogfish. And sorry, Doberman. My bad. My Kaiser Doberman. And that's a bit of a bigger knife. It does have the contour G10. It's a different blade shape, things like that. But it was nice to come back to a relatively smaller, lighter, more pocketable, friendly use knife. So I've come around to changing my opinions of it. I still think that it is a bit pricey. I would like to see this configuration, or even some configurations maybe with the uncoated blade and really just with the uncoated blade for a lower price point. That's my preference. I am a bit of a stickler when it comes to price, just because I really don't have a lot of money to spend. It's not a bad knife. This is a very good knife. I just really wish that it could be a bit of a lower price point. So I am going to give it a 4. I wouldn't give it a 3 just because I don't think that it's that bad of a deal. There are a lot of things here, a lot of little nuances that I think people who are knife enthusiasts and have a bit more experience with them will appreciate. I think for true laymen's who, a pocket knife's a pocket knife's a pocket knife, or they don't think about things like blade steel and pocket clips and all the details that many knife reviewers go into. I don't think this is worth it for them, but I think to be very, very fair, I think that it is a 4 out of 6. It's a little bit better than I think what the price point is, though the price point would really make this an even greater value. So there you go. That is the Tenable Prometheus. Be safe out there, and I'll catch you next time, maybe in like another month. I don't know. We'll see.